Welcome to Wrestling Talk and welcome back to I Book Every Show in WWE for a year. We're back in January. As you know, we're going to start with SmackDown this time, and I'm going to list every champion for both shows. Watch the last episode if you didn't already. This is going to be the third episode, and we're doing Raw and SmackDown. We're getting close to the Royal Rumble. So here are the current champions in Raw. So if you don't want to be spoiled, watch last episode, because I made a playlist of them, all the episodes. This is the point. If you don't want spoilers of what happens, don't watch this part. The current World Heavyweight Champion is Kofi Kingston. The Intercontinental Champion are Miles Bourne. The World Tag Team Champions are The New Day, Xavier Woods, and Javon Evans. The Women's World Champion is Stephanie Vaquer, and the Women's Intercontinental Champion is Jessie James. On SmackDown, Jacy Jane. And on SmackDown, the current WWE Champion is Drew McIntyre. The United States Champion is Carmelo Hayes. The WWE Tag Team Champions are the New Dudes with Other Attitudes, Josh Briggs and Brad Baylor. The WWE Women's Champion is Blake Monroe, and the Women's United States Champion is Alexa Bliss. Now, without further ado, let's get into SmackDown January 9th, 2026. Not January. Wait a minute. I'll be trying to figure this out. Yeah, we're doing SmackDown. We're doing SmackDown January 16th, 2026 is what I meant to say. I messed up. Okay, the first match is a non-title match. If Chris Sabin could beat Carmelo Hayes, he gets added to the United States title match in the Royal Rumble. Non-title match. Chris Sabin versus Carmelo Hayes. Winner, and will be added to the U.S. title match at Royal Rumble. Chris Sabin, 13 minutes by pinfall. That's the first match. This sets up Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, and Carmelo Hayes. The next thing is an angle. The Miz comes out to the ring, grabs him, Mike, and says, "Montez Ford, what is your answer?" Ford comes out with Angelo Dawkins. It says, "Miz, I accept being your protege." Kit Wilson also comes out, and they beat up Angelo Dawkins. This is 5 minutes. Speaking of next thing, a match. The next thing is a match. Alex Shelley versus Ray Phoenix. Winner Alex Shelley in 10 minutes by pinfall. This doesn't set up anything. It was just a match to have a match because I thought it would be interesting to see. Alex Shelley is my top heel right now, besides maybe Drew McIntyre. Angle. Next thing is an angle. Blake Monroe says she will have open challenge where she will defend her championship tonight in the main event. This lasts 3 minutes. She doesn't say much. She's like, I'm going to defend my title in so-and-so against so-and-so. And pretty much just a short, sweet promo. A non-title match. Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross. Winner, Nikki Cross. 9 minutes by pinfall. Now this is where it gets interesting. This is building up the feud between Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. So pretty much that is where we're at right now. In their feud. Wait a minute. My TV went on somehow. And that basically builds up their feud for the Royal Rumble. Okay, next match is Angle. Sami Zayn comes out to say sorry for Cody Rhodes for costing him the title accidentally. Drew comes out and thanks Sami Zayn for helping him win the title, then attacks Sami Zayn viciously. Then cuts a promo saying, at the Royal Rumble, nothing will be left of Sami Zayn when I'm finished with him. This lasts 10 minutes. So I'm imagining like Sami Zayn coming out and, I'm so sorry, Cody Rhodes, I didn't mean to cost you the title match. I was trying to crash Drew, and I ended up costing you. And basically that's what happens there. Next is an open challenge for the WWE Tag Team Championship. And it is the New Dudes with Attitude, Brad Baylor and Josh Briggs, the champions, versus Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Winners and still tag team champions, the New Dudes with Attitudes, in 20 minutes by pinfall when Brad Baylor pinned Axiom. The next thing is an Angle. Nick Aldis comes out and announced that next week all champions will hold open challenges next week. 4 minutes. This is one of those special editions of SmackDown where there will be no angles at all. Next, NXT Showcase match. Noam Dar versus Cody Rhodes. Winner Cody Rhodes, 14 minutes by pinfall. This match is basically just here to be here. But NXT showcases are very important in the current scheme of things in this division. Okay, next. Angle. Uncle Howdy says next week, addition to the title matches, these will also be the matches for next week. Uncle Howdy says he will face Randy Orton. Joe Gacy will face Trick Williams. Eric Rowan will face Damian Priest, and Dexter Lumis will face Shinsuke Nakamura. This lasts 3 minutes. Nothing too groundbreaking, but now we have all the titles on the line, all those matches. So there will be 9 matches in a very long edition of SmackDown, where all titles will be on the line in open challenges. Match: Apollo Crews versus Berto. Winner Apollo Crews in 12 minutes by pinfall. This was not really anything major. This was just to get Apollo Crews to do something, because I value Apollo Crews here. Angle. The Miz, Ford, Montez Ford, and Kit Wilson come out. They call themselves the Awesome Ones. This lasts 5 minutes. Their group is called the Awesome Ones. Yeah, I thought that was a good idea because The Miz is awesome. Next is a match. Jacob Fatu versus Randy Orton. Winner Jacob Fatu in 20 minutes by pinfall after Uncle Howdy hit Randy Orton with the lantern. I feel like that's a good way to cost Randy Orton the match. So nothing too upsetting happens. And that's what I came up with. Match. The next is another match, and it's The Miz versus Angel. Winner, The Miz, in 20 minutes by pinfall after distraction from Montez Ford and Kit Wilson distracts Angel. Next is the main event, and it's an open challenge for the WWE Women's title. Blake Monroe, the champion, versus Charlotte Flair. Winner and still champion Blake Monroe in 20 minutes by pinfall. And that's how SmackDown ends. Now, let's get to Raw. January 19th, 2026. This show starts with an IC title open challenge where Miles Bourne. It starts with the IC Open Challenge. Miles Bourne the champion versus Finn Balor. Winner and still champion Miles Bourne in 20 minutes by pinfall. I imagine this being a quick back and forth match, like very fast paced. You get to see what Miles is about. You get to see Finn Balor do some action. And ultimately Miles Bourne retains. I feel like this would be an entertaining match in real life. So I booked it. I feel like people would love to see this match eventually. Next thing is an angle. LA Knight comes out and challenges Gunther to a match at the Royal Rumble. Then Gunther comes out to the ring and says, "No, not unless you put your career on the line, and if you lose a match you have to retire." LA Knight says yes to Gunther, and him and LA Knight brawl around. I could imagine Gunther in this last 10 minutes. I could just imagine him and Gunther talking for the first 5. LA Knight comes out, does his thing, and then they start brawling for like 5 minutes before people have to pull them apart. Next, NXT Showcase match. Braun Breaker versus Nico Vance. Winner, Braun Breaker in 10 minutes by pinfall. I could see this being like a giant hoss fight. 2 men just going at each other for the purpose of going at each other. And ultimately, Braun Breaker wins. I feel like that's a good way to do things. Angle. Stephanie Vaquer comes out of the ring and says, "Ivan and I will have to kill her to take this title." Ivan Nile comes out to the ring and says, "If I have to, I will." Then they stare each other down. They get real close and just stare each other down because so basically they're both talking junk and they stare down. This is to build up their feud to the Royal Rumble for the title. Match. Next thing is a match. Jey Uso versus Xavier Woods. Winner, Xavier Woods in 8 minutes by pinfall after Evans hits Jey Uso with the tag team titles. I could imagine this going back and forth till the point Javon comes in and kind of helps Xavier Woods, his tag team partner, win. Angle. Kofi Kingston backstage says he will hold an open challenge tonight. An open challenge for his title tonight. This lasts 4 minutes. Match. Javon Evans versus Jimmy Uso. Winner. Javon Evans in 12 minutes by pinfall after Jimmy got distracted by Jay Uso and Xavier Woods fighting outside the ring during the match. So everything was going all well for Jimmy Uso, I could imagine, near the end of the match, and then Jay Uso and Xavier Woods just start pounding each other, which distracts Jimmy Uso long enough for Javon Evans to get the win. Angle. Adam Pearce comes out when the New Day, Xavier Woods and Javon Evans, and the Usos, Jimmy and Jace, are fighting. It says all 3 members of the New Day will fight versus the Usos and CM Punk for the tag team title, for the tag team and World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble. So basically how this will work is CM Punk and Xavier Woods are fighting for the World Tag Team title, not the World Tag Team title, for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the Usos and the New Day are fighting for the Tag Team Championship. So if CM Punk pins Kofi Kingston, he wins the world title and the Usos win the tag team titles, is basically how it will go. Match. Penta and Rey Mysterio versus Rayo Americano and Bravo Americano. Winners, Penta and Rey Mysterio in 30 minutes by pinfall after Penta pinned Bravo. This is the 3rd match in their series, and Penta and Rey Mysterio won it. Angle. Brie Bella challenged Jacy Jayne to a title match, Women's Intercontinental Championship match next week. Jacy Jayne says yes. This lasts 2 minutes. It's just a quick little segment. Match. Akira Tozawa versus Gunther. Winner Gunther in 7 minutes by submission with sleeper hold. This isn't even close. This is just Gunther beating Akira Tozawa to death for 7 minutes. Next, Angle. Braun Breaker challenges Miles Bourne to a title match next week, and Miles Bourne says yes. This lasts 2 minutes. Match. Next match. Asuka versus Bayley. Winner Bayley in 8 minutes by pinfall. This is just like a filler match before the main event, but I could still imagine it being good. Next is a World Heavyweight Championship match, and it's Kofi Kingston, the champion, versus Joe Hendry. And this was an open challenge. Winner and still champion, Kofi Kingston, in 40 minutes by pinfall after Woods hit Joe in the head with the tag team championship, with his part of the tag team championship. So this ends Raw and SmackDown. Let's see how many more shows we have to go before the Royal Rumble, and that will end January. We're at the 19th. We just need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. The 31st is the Royal Rumble. So there's 3 more shows before we get to the Royal Rumble. And the end of January. Goodbye.